Just say what you mean what you say.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
Welcome to Larisha Speaks. We're here with another episode of Larisha Speaks when we're dealing with public corruption and it's the cases regarding the state and their duty or lack thereof. This is an interesting case that I have in regards to biracial children who are being violated simply because the courts can, and so they won't get their inheritance. So, what would you do if you were in this situation, or how do you go about getting help when the agency who's responsible for helping you is telling you you have to go somewhere else? So this is a very troubling case, especially since I have everybody know I have a nephew with mental health issues, and I'm an advocate trying to bring attention to these issues. So welcome, Lori, to the stage.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, how you doing? Welcome. Yes, so in regards to this case, so just introduce yourself, and she's here on behalf of her two children who are biracial.
That's correct.
Hi.
Hi. So part of
Yes, so Lori, you can introduce yourself.
so my name is
My name is
here today. We're dealing
You're
with.
breaking up.
I don't know why.
As soon as you start talking, you start breaking up. You know, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I think it's because they trying
Do you
to.
know that joke?
Joke?
This is what
What
dealing with.
No, that's what I think it is. Cause okay, so I'll do this. Okay, so Lori, our guest today is Lori, and she's a mother with two children, and her children are biracial. So she had an unfortunate incident where her husband was unalived by the police and being targeted because they are in this community. And she is from New Jersey. You know, I love my New Jersey cases. It's corruption all over the United States, but I like focusing on my state and trying to bring attention and awareness to what's going on. And after the unfortunate incident where her husband happened, her children were targeted, and she believes her children were targeted allegedly because of their inheritance. Her husband is very, very wealthy, and the children are entitled to his wealth. And she believes that um, they were targeted so that they can't obtain that wealth, and they have been placed into institutions. She has two sons. One incident happened in December of 2022. Her son Jared was a person came to the house and tried to do like attention for him, like a intervention, and the person gave him a substance, and he started having seizures. And from those seizures, he was put into the hospital, and he was put in ICU for 2 weeks, and and then the transferred from facility to facility. And her son hasn't been released from the hospital since December of 2022. And she states that there's no specific diagnosis in regards to him being placed inside of these facilities. Simply for him having a seizure is not enough to keep him. And right now he's at what facility?
Greystone
So he's at Greystone Psychiatric Hospital in Morris Plains. And according to his mom, he has no current mental health diagnosis that will require him to stay at the hospital, in addition to staying at the hospital, for him to be handcuffed to the bed. Now, she sent me like some very disturbing pictures of the abuse that her sons have gone through since they've been hospitalized. And like, this is a very unfortunate case. And basically, it was somebody coming to the home to treat him, gave him a substance that caused him to have seizures, and those seizures, he went to the hospital, and from there the hospital has kept him, transferred him to several different hospitals, and at every time she's contacted the hospital, she's making complaints, she's going to the police, and every town he was in to try to say that they're keeping her son against his will and her will with no reason, and she's being ignored by the police in this instance. And then she has an incident with her other son in March of 2024. Her son was taken to Mountainside Hospital because she had a SWAT call to her house. A SWAT call is when the police were called to the house stating a crime was occurring and no crime was occurring. The police used that phone call to take her son, put him inside of Mountainside Hospital. They did a check and said nothing is wrong, but kept him at the hospital. When she went to go discharge him, he was transported to another hospital. And the hospital is being told stories by a family member. Well, due to legal reasons, I don't want to say the family member's name, but that family member is I'm trying to think of the word, is shares the inheritance with the boys. So in order for her to get her inheritance, or in order for her to split the inheritance, she would have to split it with them. And if they're not incapable of splitting it, then she has full access to it and she can do what she wants to do it. So she can use this inheritance. What Miss Lori believes is by going to the allegedly going to the police, the public officials, because she has a lot of money, and are persuading them to keep her sons institutionalized and being abused while they're in the institutions. Now, her sons, she's forbidden as a mother of these two sons, and they are older. They're 26 and 24. So it's not like she's talking about minors, but they're adults, and she's their mom. Where in these hospital, Greystone Hospital, and the other hospital is Essex County Hospital
Cedar Grove.
in Cedar Grove. Yes, she is not allowed to see her children. In addition to her not being allowed to see her children, when she was allowed to see them on the limited times they were handcuffed to the bed. She saw that they were abused. They had marks on them, scrapes on them, bruises on them. And when she would demand answers to why this happened to them, why are they being in these unsanitary positions, she was always harassed and basically like threatened with not being able to see them because she's reporting or she's saying what's happening to her kids. It's
Right.
really, really a very unfortunate situation. I have a letter from Morris County prosecutor dated January the 15th of 2025. When I tell you she has contacted everybody and their mother, she has contacted everybody, every police report. She has police reports out the wazoo, including the state police, including Essex County police, including Livingston police, including West Orange, East Orange, institutional abuse of state of New Jersey, Morris County Prosecutor Office. She contacted the Department of Health because her children are legally or illegally, I don't know, what you would call it, being kidnapped, trafficked allegedly in a state institution simply because someone doesn't want them to get a hold of their inheritance. And because they are half black, it's being allowed to be done to them. They have been called the N word. They have been treated like second class citizens because, their father was biracial and someone doesn't want them to get their half of the inheritance. So they're in a situation where they can't get it and they're drugged and medicated, which is what these hospitals are doing. And according to Ms. Lori, they don't even have a diagnosis. They never had any history of mental health issues prior to this hospitalization.
No,
Prior
they
to
no.
they just all of a sudden they were entitled to have money. They were left this money by their father, who was unalived by the police. And then his family member, allegedly his family member, decided that she doesn't want to share the money with them. So they have been taken, illegally taken from their home and placed inside of the hospitals, and nothing's being done to help. And she's in the letter from the prosecutor is very interesting because I'm going to actually see if I can read the letter, because the prosecutor is telling her that she needs to contact all of these other agencies in order to help her address this issue. And the issue that I'm having with that is that you're the prosecutor. You're supposed to be conducting your own investigation. For you to tell somebody that they have to go to several different agencies and for them to conduct an investigation, what is the point of you being a prosecutor? I'm blonde, I can't see. As a comprehensive review of all the facts and evidence you submitted to the Morris County Prosecutor's Office via email, thumb drives, and scheduled interview. Conducted on October the 10th, 2024, it has been determined that several different law enforcement and civilian agencies should be contacted to address and manage your complaint. Please see attached page. Decision is based on the nature and scope of the issues presented, which fall under the jurisdiction and expertise of other multiple agencies. So after her contacting the police, contacting institutional abuse, contacting several different to say, listen, my sons are in this hospital. They shouldn't be in this hospital. These things are being done. The Morris County prosecutor on January the 15th, 2025, wrote her a letter telling her to contact other agencies. Instead of them conducting an investigation on their behalf to figure out why is her son in an institution when they shouldn't be. And if you see the pictures of the abused lips, abused arms, legs, and they're literally being handcuffed and tied to the bed. And it's just like, wow. And they had no prior mental health diagnosis. Now, we're not saying that people can't have a diagnosis once they become of age, because you can be diagnosed with certain diagnoses when you come of age, but the parents are not taken away, and usually it's put off on the parents to provide that care. This seems like what's going on with Wendy Williams in regards to them controlling where she is so they can take her money and then they can use that money to fund her care. That's what seems like it's happening here. We have someone who stated that they basically have guardianship over her children, and Miss Lori says that is not the case. No one has guardianship over her children. There's fraudulent paperwork allegedly. I haven't seen the paperwork,
And I
so I'm
want to
not.
one. There were some submitted without.
You're breaking up in and out, so try that again. It sucks when I record it. It breaks up.
Submitted unlawful without due process.
Breaking up.
Okay.
Okay, try again.
There was some submission.
When you talk, try to speak, stop, then speak again, and like breathe for a second, because sometimes it'll, and because it does that to try to miss your words. So when you try to do it, just slow it down, and it'll may sound like, but you'll at least be able to get it out. So then the next word won't be missed, because what they're doing is doing in and out.
Understood. There were some which illegal.
Say there were some, and then stop. Because as soon as you say there was some, it is.
It has come to our.
It has come. Shorten it some because it's blocking you.
Yeah, it's blocked. We learned that hired help that fraudulent records.
It's coming in and out. It's coming in and out.
We learned that hired fraudulent paper
Slower. Because it doesn't mind if you do it slow, because what happens is I can cut the tape.
Okay.
So I can take the words together. So, even if it's like this, I can edit it that way. So it doesn't look like but it really looks, and it's like, I really want to hear what you got to say, but it's just like,
Okay.
sucks.
It came to our attention that hired that was paid.
That hired help, it didn't get help.
Okay.
That hired
help otherwise known parties,
otherwise known as
third parties
of the who?
On the take who
On the huh?
on the take who
On the take who took
a bribe to submit work.
Okay, so it's become to your attention that somebody was on the take and they took bribes to complete fictitious and fraudulent paperwork in your case.
Yes.
Okay, and those fictitious documents is the guardianship paper.
Correct.
No one has ever went to court and filed guardianship papers. But out of nowhere, you have someone saying that they have guardianship over your sons and they want your sons to be in these two hospitals.
They want my son
to
hospitals, keep me out
out
of life forever.
Okay. They want your sons out and they want to keep you out of your son's life forever. And how was their relationship with your sons prior to this hospitalization when they were growing up?
They're complete strangers. People came out of we never met them. They don't know my son. Since they threw my hospitals, never visited them, called them, talked to them. These are complete Shylarks.
But they have access to the inheritance with your sons. Wow. Yeah.
They have all the money. They took it and put it.
They took it and put it
in their bank account. I don't have access.
And they're acting on your son's behalf because they have guardianship papers that allegedly they got fictitiously and fraudulently. And when you go to the police to file a police report to bring it to attention, like, I have the birth certificate. These are my sons. These are I'm the mom. I'm on the birth certificate. They're in the hospital. I do not approve them being in this hospital, but the hospital is going along with somebody who has fictitious paperwork saying that they can take guardianship of them, and that person has no prior relationship to them prior to this hospiitalization.
Or since
strangers. I'm sorry.
Or since they have.
And the only thing they have in common is that they share this inheritance.
That's it.
And you basically saying allegedly that the state of New Jersey law enforcement community, Morris County Prosecutor's Office, the State Department of Health, institutional abuse, and all these prosecutors, public officials are not doing anything in regards to this case because the person has money and they're wealthy and they're able to buy and deal and get what they want. Wow.
And my son, if he had black blood.
Hold on. And your son was asked if he had black blood. Who asked him did he have black blood?
One of the doctors
at the hospital.
You have black blood.
One of the doctors said to him, "We hear you have black blood."
Yeah.
Wow.
And
because he's biracial,
correct.
But no one is there to help. Wow. So you have obtained an attorney, and you're applied by the police, and was being harassed by the police because he was biracial in Warren Township of Warren County.
The event we're speaking about Warren County.
In Warren County, New Jersey. Okay. So after dealing with that, now you're dealing with your children being targeted, and you see that they are literally being targeted because they're black and they don't have the protection.
Well, it's the statement. Come up to. It's asking black blood.
Yeah.
It's enacting.
Is enacting what?
Slavery.
Oh yeah. And they're literally being handcuffed to the bed. So even if they had a mental health diagnosis, why are you handcuffing them to the bed?
That's my point.
You're abusing them at an unalarming rate. The pictures are ridiculous. I'm going to make sure I put the fact that fraudulent documentation was able to be done. But that's how it works. If you have money, you can pay for justice.
Exactly.
Especially in New Jersey. You can pay to get things done your way, allegedly, in the state of New Jersey. And if you don't have money and if you are a minority, you will be screwed. You will get the short end of the stick because who is there to advocate for you? Who is there to advocate on their behalf? I know in the juvenile matter, when there's a custody issue, the juvenile has a law guardian, where the law guardian come in and they're the guardian ad litem, or they're the attorney for the child. Do your sons have any attorneys that's acting on their behalf?
We try. Have hired. Is in the not let the attorney door to visit.
Okay, so she's hired several attorneys, but the hospital will not let the attorneys in to visit them.
Or even their attorney client that they're entitled to. They're instructing.
Yeah, they did that with the Department of Corrections in New Jersey. Again, they have the power, and once you get in the state's realm where they have it, their control, the white supremacy takes over, and their control of it all is just wow. Wow. So you're in the process of seeking legal assistance to know what your rights are in this case because your children are being tortured.
Tortured.
In the New Jersey state facility simply because they have an inheritance that their family member doesn't want to share with them because they are half black. They are disowning them because they're
And
half black.
family member
I'm
who
sorry.
the family member initiated and made the bride is not black. So she is very prejudicial, looks down upon their racial.
Okay, yes. The person who has the custody is not biracial. She is Caucasian. She's full Caucasian. And she looks down on minorities. So she doesn't want these minorities to share in her inheritance because they're minorities. And she's not allowing them to by any means necessary. And she's using the court, the hospitals to allow her to take their money. The money that they had set aside when their father passed from his inheritance that he had. They are his heirs, and the money goes to them. And in order for them not to get it, they've been kidnapped by the state, institutionalized, and the state is not doing nothing to have them. Because if they were to be released, they would have the money. They're 24 and 26, so they will be entitled to their inheritance. They'll be able to live their life. But because of them being, his father is biracial. Their father is biracial. And their mother had kids with with their Caucasian, got a divorce and had a kid with a black person, which is their father, and then the father had them. So the half siblings who are not biracial is taking the inheritance from the sibling who passed away. How are they in regards to their brother passing away? Did they even show any care and concern the fact that he was unalive by the police? They felt like he got what he deserved because he's half biracial.
No show at the
Wow. No show at the funeral.
tampered with the moved the body. The list goes on.
Wow.
Which are all
Wow.
all crimes.
Wow. So you just want, being a mother, you just want your children to be safe. You just want your children not to be abused simply because they're half black. And the fact that the prosecutor, Morris County prosecutor, wrote a letter in January of 2025 telling you to go to these other places for you to conduct an investigation or have them conduct an investigation when you went to all those places already.
I did go.
It's wow. And the letter is 2025. So again, we're not talking about a couple of years.
It's present.
We're not talking about we're talking about a couple of months. And you haven't heard anything back from them since this happened.
No, and the Morris County is held in Morris. So I don't know
You said what happened?
jurisdiction of where my held is Morris Jersey is Morris County. So that's the protection.
Also, she would like to bring attention that her son, who is in Essex County Hospital in Cedar Grove, has a twin sister. And this twin sister, according to the mother, in 2020, she went to Florida for college. She went to her apartment with her twin brother. They set her up. She's in the apartment. They went back down there to visit her a couple of times. Everything was fine. Then she went in what year?
2022.
She went in 2022, 2023. And when did you go when you noticed that she was gone?
2023.
2023, she went down there, and the facility that her daughter was in, the apartment, was empty. She had unenrolled in the school, and she has not been able to file a police report in regards to her daughter. So Florida wouldn't let you file a police report.
No.
Someone sent a email to the court stating that she cannot get her inheritance because remember, the two with the institutionalized, they can't get theirs because they're in an institution. So someone sent an email to the court saying they can't give the daughter hers because they don't know her whereabouts. She's in an undisclosed location, so she can't get it. So this mom, Miss Lori, is saying she don't know what happened to her daughter. She just went to school one day, came up missing, and the police will not let you file a police report in Florida
Or Jersey.
and Jersey. They will not let you file a police report to report your child missing.
No.
And you do not know where your daughter is.
No.
And have you tried to look for her on Facebook, Instagram, social media?
Tried. Had no success. We've solicited friends, relatives, grandparents.
Have you tried to get a private investigator?
Well, that's what I'm.
Yeah, I would get a private investigator, and they will help you. They may have avenues to help you with this. So this is a very, very unfortunate case. It's one of the most, I don't want to say weird.
Yeah.
But this is one of those where I can see the movie. I can see the real life movie, but I 100% believe it because of everything that I went through. So I already know the torture that the state is willing to put on its people for their own selfish means. And now you're telling me that money is involved and it's an inheritance. I believe it. It's very, very unfortunate. I want to say I'm sorry to you. Everything is allegedly, just with basically off the information that I've received. But this is a very, very hard case to do. I'm looking at those pictures of the abuse that's on her sons. Her sons are 24 and 26. Their teeth are rotting out of their mouth. They are handcuffed to beds. They have injuries all over their body. And again, at 24 and 26, you're young. You're young. You should not be in a condition where you're losing teeth through rot because they're allowing your teeth to rot out of your mouth, or you being handcuffed to the bed, and then you're force-fed medication, and you're also being taken away from your mother simply because they can just take you away from your mother. It's very, very sad and unfortunate. So I want to send you out my prayers. I'm going to get this out there. Hopefully, do little clips and do little videos and try to bring attention to what's going on with you. If anybody wants to get in contact with you, do you have a website or social media?
Yes, it's Peaceful Healing.
Peacefulhealing.com. Okay, make sure you text it to me, and when I write the description on YouTube, I'll put it in there.
And the Facebook is well.
Okay, on Facebook. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. Unfortunately, it's a horrific story. Hopefully we can bring attention to what's going on in your case and demand some type of justice because this is just wow. It's wow. Simply because they are black, they have an inheritance, and the Caucasian side of the family don't want to share with them.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's exactly correct.
It's unfortunate, to say the least.
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody for listening because although you might think I sit up here and diss and everything like that, I'm just a positive person trying to do a positive thing, trying to have a little bit of fun and make my mark in the world.